This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs, presented by Yahoo Fantasy. I am your host, Chris Raybon. NFL Week 1 is here. We got your player projections episode for Week 1 here on the Fantasy Flex. And as always, I am joined by one of the most accurate rankers in the game. Top 5 in season-long accuracy over the past 3 seasons. Numerous number 1 trophies for in-season accuracy at Fantasy Pros. The odds maker, Sean Koerner. Sean, happy Week 1. Nobody better to be doing projections. How you feeling?
Likewise, looking forward to another fantastic season with you. Super stoked about Week 1 here. And this is like my favorite time of the week. Getting to hear your top 5 at every position, having at least one guy go, holy shit, he's in your top 5. But also I get to see my top 5 too. I don't know how you really do projections this early in the season, but I'm just doing team by team, really granular level. So I haven't even looked at my top 5 at each position yet. So I'm going to be kind of surprised at mine too. But looking forward to another excellent season with you.
Yeah, let's do it. You guys are getting 2 of the, top 8, top 6 in season long over the past 3 years. And yeah, just numerous top 10, top 5 accuracy finishes at Fantasy Pros. So we'll try to keep it going, and we'll go position by position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and start with our top 5s here, and then guys we're high and low on, and then of course a prop, which is always fun. Sean, let's before we go into that, just reminder: all of our fantasy content all year long, fantasylabs.com. That's where our rankings, our projections, and everything else you'll need is at, whether you play fantasy, DFS, whatever. It's all over at fantasylabs.com. You can use promo code FLEX20, that's FLEX20, for $20 off an annual NFL sub, and you will be set. So, Sean Koerner, without further ado, Week 1, top 5 quarterbacks.
All right, let's go. So everything, again, I had it sorted by like team, matchup, game, just sorted by fantasy points. So I'm seeing my top 5 for the first time. Quarterback looks pretty boring. It looks pretty chalky. Pretty straightforward. I have Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. I'm pretty sure that was the top 5 in ADP entering the season. So a pretty boring Week 1 for me. Who do you got?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, number 1. Josh Allen, Lamar, Jaden Daniels, and Burrow. Right. And again, monitor the weather, but it's those Dallas tears, man. Like, this is I do expect the Eagles to take a little bit of a step back, but this matchup against Dallas got even better for the Eagles, and everyone's healthy, so.
Yeah, I mean, what are they crying about more? Micah Parsons getting traded away, or that Javonte Williams is their Week 1 starting running back?
I mean, it's got to be Parsons, but I mean, because at least you got blue, like if you could, like, Javonte could be terrible, and then it took forever for them to just give it to Rico Dowdle last year, so who knows? But maybe that was maybe Schottenheimer isn't so bad. I say that, right? Like the most uninspiring coaching hire of all time. Maybe he's not that bad. Maybe
it's also Miles Sanders' revenge game. Miles Sanders' revenge game here.
Revenge of the inactives.
Maybe he'll average, 4 yards a carry instead of 3. Who knows? But yeah.
Over under. I got a prop already. Forget the quarterback. Over under. Odds on give me odds on Miles Sanders being inactive and them just going with Williams, Blue, and Lipke.
Ooh, I hope not. Maybe I'll hold off making some bets. If you think that's a possibility, I'm going to hold off.
It's a possibility because Lipke can pass protect, and Sanders has missed a lot of time, and
Blue is healthy.
He's generally not great. Yeah.
It's
not out of the realm.
You tell me, what is it? Is it 50-50? Is it that
no,
high?
But I would say there's 4 backs on. I would say it's about. I would give it about 25% chance. Like, not it's a non-zero possibility.
Good to know. I mean, I'll take your word for it. You're my source on that kind of stuff. I will take that in consideration when I write up some props for this game tomorrow. With that in mind, I had no idea. Hopefully, that just means Jaden Blue has his breakout in week 1. But have that season-long fade of Javonte Williams. So rooting for that out the gate as well.
Yeah, because I mean, as far as I'm aware, you always got to kind of keep these in mind when you're trying to figure out these things out. And like week 1 has these surprises, so you got to be prepared. But a guy like Sanders, just like Javonte, not really a special teams guy, unless you're going to use him on kick return. So yeah, if Blue is the better, if Blue's healthy, I mean, Blue could also be that scratch. If but I would think it would be Sanders because he's been terrible. But anyway, quarterbacks. That's what we're actually talking about. Still, we haven't even gotten to running backs. We're already getting to running backs, but that's how we do it. Who are you high on for week 1 at quarterback?
Yeah, I'm high on Daniel Jones. He's my quarterback 15 to open the week, playing at home against the Dolphins. Yes, he sucks. And yeah, I'm not sure why the Colts already benched Anthony Richardson for him. I was shocked that they went that route. But the reality is they did. And Daniel Jones is the week 1 starter. And I think this is a sneaky matchup for him at home. The Dolphins, they lost Jalen Ramsey, both starting safeties in Holland and Poyer. But they did bring back Minkah Fitzpatrick. But they got a lot of new pieces in the secondary. Might take them a few games to gel. The Colts have a pretty high team total for them, 12th highest of the week. They're indoors, and as you said on our waivers pod, whether you like it or not, Daniel Jones has upside. He has that rushing upside that gave him QB1 upside at times when he was on the Giants. And this is definitely the best set of pass catchers he's ever had. So this is a great situation for him. And yeah, he's definitely in that streaming low-end QB1 discussion this week, especially given the matchup. So I think now would be kind of the time to buy in on Jones. And if he disappoints us yet again, so be it. But I think heading into week 1, he's definitely the quarterback. I was shocked to kind of see how high he was in my rankings.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Daniel Jones. Like it's kind of like a geeky football thing, but I would say of the amount of like outside of like the Jags, just because we're also invested in just interested to see Hunter and everything. But I would say Daniel Jones is probably the next most. I'm excited to just see how he plays because I did see an article. I think it was in the Wall Street Journal of all places, and they were kind of talking about how he spent that time with Kevin O'Connell in that quarterback room with Darnold, and he learned a lot, and made the decision not to go to a team where he could just play right away and wanted to learn. So I'm interested to see, because his whole thing was he was always like a see it, throw it kind of guy, So if the decision making is sped up, like you said, best supporting cast he's ever played with receiver wise. But forget that. Easily, and this is not even this offensive line is probably taking a step back from what it was in its prime, but also the best offensive line, I would say, that Daniel Jones has ever had. I mean, maybe even by far, depending on how the interior pans out. But there's some upside there, because the key is the rushing ability, and we know that's built into the offense regardless. Because you got Leonard there too, and you got Richardson, so those calls they're built in. So if they're all keying on Taylor at the goal line, hey, Daniel Jones can just take it around the end real quick, get a nice little maybe he's a 2 touchdown. Are we gonna have to bet Daniel Jones multi-touchdown? That sounds maybe like a Gilles Gallant special right there. Check. By the way, we'll be doing a touchdown show later this week. That'll be over on the Action Network pod, so be sure to subscribe to that as well. And Stuckey and I, of course, will be doing the 6-pack. And you and I, Koerner, we'll be on the flex doing our building DFS lineups as well, just to for some bookkeeping. But Daniel Jones, agree, begrudgingly. I got a couple names, and they're kind of fringe ranked guys, so I thought I'd mention them because I would start them with confidence. Bo Nix against the Titans. He's QB9. I think he should be at least 1 or 2 spots higher. I think what the Denver Broncos have done with their offense is just, it's really setting Nix up to where he doesn't have to be perfect, but they have a great line. And now they have weapons for Knicks to just get easy yards, because he was making a lot happen on his own last year, whether it was with his legs, whether it was, through the air, whether it was yelling at Sean Payton to like flip the play. So now you got RJ Harvey. He can get you easy yards out of the backfield. Dobbins can still pass block for you and still look like he had some explosion left. You still got you got Ingram, a tight end, so that's an upgrade, even if we don't think he might be as consistent as some think. And then you got another big-bodied jump ball guy in Pat Bryant, and it seems like Bo Nix's college teammate Troy Franklin is having a breakout camp and earned himself a starting role, and Marvin Mims is going to be on the field every snap as well, which Marvin Mims was a wide receiver 6 in fantasy, playing under half the snaps last year. So just a huge upgrade, and you're going against the Titans, who I have a lot of questions about their secondary. They had some good numbers against wide receivers last year because and just passers in general, because they turned it over so much that it was a volume issue at times, but pay no attention to that. It's Titans defense. I think it's going to be a pass funnel, because you still have Simmons and Sweat and those guys up. Like, you don't want to run into the gut of the Titans defense, but you will throw. You look at that secondary, with Jerry Sneed still, they haven't gotten anything out of him. I have a lot of questions about that secondary. So yeah, I think they're going to be a pass funnel all year. And then Trevor Lawrence, our guy, you talked about him on the waiver spot, so I'll take the reins. I guess we flip flop Jones and Lawrence, but yeah, he's the QB 10. I would actually have him QB 9. And that's because I am lower on somebody that is in the top 10 that I'll talk about in a moment. But do pay attention to the weather. But assuming it's not too bad, this is the worst defense. Could be the worst defense in the league this year if Cincinnati improves a bit with their new coordinator and some of those, getting Stewart and Hendrickson back in there and whatnot. So Carolina, 35 passing touchdowns allowed last year, league high. I don't see a ton of improvement for them. And you know what I did see though? J.C. Horn, of course, is already on the injury report. As per usual. And this is a team that still gave up a ton of production to number one receivers, even with Horn out there. I have questions about their secondary, really just up and down. The pass rush, they were the worst team in terms of pressure rate last year, and they gave up the most passing touchdowns. I know defense does regress to the mean year over year, but you're still going from very far out, and I don't really see the improvements to kind of get you very far in week one against a Liam Cohen, all off season to kind of prepare. You don't even know how Travis Hunter is going to be unleashed. Brian Thomas putting up Randy Moss type numbers as a rookie. So love me some Lawrence, love me some Bo Nix. These guys could be league winners. It sounds crazy, but it's hard to get the production of a Josh Allen or a Lamar. So the best you could do is kind of get these guys kind of going where they went. And if they end up paying off, it would be league winning kind of upside. So yeah, Lawrence and Nix for me week one and rest of the season. All right. This is going to be fun, because I think the guy you're low on, just his matchup just kind of got a little bit tougher.
Yeah,
a little bit tougher.
No kidding. But
quarterback, Koerner.
Jared Goff, I'm low on. He's my QB 23 to open the week. Just their offense, the Lions' offense in general, should see regression this year. Just following a near perfect season, it's really hard to replicate that. But they also lost offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Their offensive line could be a little bit worse this year. So, they're projected for around 7.5 fewer points per game. And that directly impacts Goff, who doesn't offer any rushing stats. So he's tied to, passing touchdowns and matchups. And this week one matchup is a brutal one for Goff. They're at Green Bay. Typically, Jared Goff is much better at home and indoors. So this is a road outdoors matchup. So he takes a hit there. And this is a Packers defense that just landed, generational talent and Micah Parsons, who should be applying more pressure on Goff than he typically sees against the Packers. So just a lot of things kind of going against him here. And just for a guy who's, again, very sensitive to matchup, he's all the way down to quarterback, 23 in my ranks. So this is the kind of the time to maybe add a Trevor Lawrence if you have Goff on your team. I don't know why you would have him anyway, but this is a week to kind of bench Goff and look elsewhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could. He does have some DFS appeal, but it's like it's very low floor. Still a high ceiling if, let's say, the Packers do their thing on offense, or I did. So here's an interesting question. Like, when did you bump Goff up because Tim Patrick is off the team?
Oh, well, yes and no. I think that, Isaac Tisla could be way better than we're giving him credit for. Like, if they have an actual number 3 wide receiver, that's huge. And that was not Tim Patrick. So I think eventually Tisla was going to overtake him. I think the fact that they moved on and Tisla is like for sure the number 3 is very good news for Jared Goff. And again, if like they're not as high scoring, that means they're going to be in closer games where he's going to probably throw more. So he could offset some of that with yardage. But yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, I think Tim Patrick getting dealt is good, because I think Tisla, I don't think we're going to talk about him today, but I think he could be sneaky good this year. So the surrounding talent around Goff is still as good as ever. Again, it's just going to be hard to replicate last season.
Yeah, and that was kind of a trick question, because I do think that season long, yes, Tisla gives them more upside than they had with Patrick. But the last time that Jared Goff played the Green Bay Packers, Tim Patrick got 6 passes for 43 yards and 2 tutties, baby. Yeah. So he's no longer there. That was 66% of Goff's touchdowns.
I not that anyone cares, but I'm in a dynasty league with a bunch of other experts, and you have to start 5 to 7 wide receivers. There's literally no one available. So I just picked up Tim Patrick because he's like the only like guy that's actually playing, and he just so happened to have that 2 touchdown game. But I remember that game well. But yeah, I think I'm going to drop him after that. But yeah, who's he going to throw to now that he doesn't have Tim Patrick against the Packers?
Got to be Tisla, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, so I also heard, because they do want to take more deep shots. So I did hear that Khalif Raymond has been getting a lot of reps with the ones too. So we could get a Khalif Raymond resurgence as well. I always love when Khalif Raymond is putting up numbers. So it could be a fun Lions season, just because there's a lot of things going on. But yeah, I agree. Week 1, I mean, the Packers defense was very good last year. I believe they were they were the only. I saw a stat. I believe it was in The Athletic, and it said that they were top 7 in EPA, defensive EPA, and they didn't even have anyone like top 35 in sacks. Like, so they were essentially like balling out, but just kind of cobbling together, a pass rush. And now that you can kind of combine Micah Parsons with Gary, like that now you're going to have a legit pass rush. The cornerbacks are still a question mark, but Green Bay is interesting because they have all these slot corners, right? They got rid of Jair, and it's like, oh man, but they have all these slot corners. But I wonder if that's just on purpose, like for the positional versatility of, you know what I mean? Like you're never really gonna know. And now that they got Parsons, who's a chess piece, I like what they're doing out there in Green Bay. I like their draft. So yeah, I think I don't want any parts of Goff in week 1. I think I've seen people where, because a lot of times 2 quarterbacks get drafted in leagues, and I actually just told someone that they drafted Kyler and Goff, and I was like, drop Goff. Like, you just roll with Kyler, and if you need another quarterback for a bye, or Kyler's sucking or gets injured, then you pick one up. But don't carry 2 quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback league. Almost never want to do that. There's very few scenarios in which that's recommended. Oh, yeah. I'm low on – oh, man. So start out with a bang, right? We're high on Daniel Jones. We're high on Trevor Lawrence. We're low on Jared Goff, and I am low on Patrick Mahomes, baby. He is a quarterback 7 in ECR. This is not a top 10 Mahomes week for me. This is the same thing we had to deal with last year. Yes, the line should be better with Simmons, the rookie, at tackle. Very promising. But Rashee Rice – suspended. Rookie potential phenom Jalen Royals, not likely to suit up in week 1, dealing with an injury. Hollywood Brown, as per usual, has not practiced all camp. Andy Reid's like, yeah, you got a lot of guys. We'll mix and match. So that kind of tells me that Hollywood's probably right back into that 40 to 60% week role that he was most of last year. He's probably not going to hit the ground running. And that means we're going to probably get some Tyquan Thornton and some Juju and some Jason Brownlee, who made the roster as well. Maybe some Remigio. I mean, it's going to be kind of a smorgasbord of wideouts aside from Xavier Worthy. So we're kind of set up the same. And, Kelsey, he all he's doing is he's just bleeding rings. He gave up a ring in February, and then he just gave up another one a little while in end of August. So I don't really know what to. And then we got 4 running backs on the roster. It's like, who knows what's going on, but don't like the matchup against the Chargers. This is it still is a divisional matchup, and those tend to be a little bit more lower scoring, more familiarity. And if you look at last year, week 4, they faced off, and granted, it was kind of a similar situation, dealing with injuries at receiver, but 19 of 29, 245, touchdown and a pick, 12 yards of rushing, QB 17 finish. 10 weeks later, 24 of 37, 210 yards, so fewer yards even, 1 touchdown, again, no picks this time, on only 17 yards rushing, a QB 17 finish. We like Patrick Mahomes when he's going to get Rice back, and Worthy, and Brown's healthy, and Royals is healthy. Then we like Mahomes. Right now, we don't. This is just the same Mahomes as last year in my book. So I don't think he's a top 12 quarterback. He's a guy that if you drafted, unfortunately, I would be looking to replace in week 1 with a Lawrence or a Nix, or maybe not a Daniel Jones, but it could be a little closer than you'd like even with that. So yeah, I'm off Mahomes. Any thoughts on Mahomes?
Yeah, I agree. He's down to QB 9 for me, so kind of like in that
too high. Wait, so you got him ahead of Lawrence? You'll regret this. Or I'll regret this.
Maybe that'll
one of us will regret this.
They're divided by 0.1, so I could just type in
that's Lawrence. Lawrence, yeah. Right, I'm gonna go with Lawrence. That's my pick. I'm calling it now. Okay. You're gonna have Lawrence higher by the end of the week. These are Tuesday projections, right? I'm not supposed to judge you.
That's true. I mean, that might be.
Don't judge Abe.
That might be my prop. I had a similar prop, but I might have to have 2 quarterback props now.
Okay. I mean, hey, I don't think people could get enough of props. I know I can't. So yeah.
Okay, so
let's go to our props.
So I'm gonna use. Actually, this is great. I'm gonna pit my the guy I'm high on and the guy I'm low on. So first question is, who scores more fantasy points in week 1? Daniel Jones or Jared Goff? I'll even float Daniel Jones as a half-point favorite.
Give me Daniel Dimes. Give me Danny Dimes, baby. I want that rushing upside all day.
Never thought I'd see the day.
Why not?
Yeah,
let's get aggressive, baby.
Bet. I think that Goff probably has the higher floor in theory, but I'm projecting them like a 1.5 apart. So I'll take that. I'll take that action, and then just Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence straight up. I already know who you're going to take. I'll take the other guy.
Lawrence. Yeah.
I'll take some guy named Pat Mahomes. But I think that I'm projecting them pretty much even. So how many more points or fraction of a points do you have Lawrence ahead of Mahomes right now?
Like a solid point. Mahomes is I haven't finalized, but Mahomes is going to be like kind of like where he was floating around last year when he didn't have his full guys. It's going to be like in that QB 15, QB 18 range. Yeah. I would say right now I feel better about Jared Goff than Mahomes.
Yeah,
honestly.
Wow,
it's like what are we doing? What are we doing with Mahomes? I mean, what changed? This is exactly why we were off Mahomes last year. And it's the same setup. And this Charger defense always seems to, it's well schemed. It's a division matchup. They tend to outperform their talent level anyway. So yeah, it's not really it's not really a matchup I'm intrigued by for the Chiefs period in this spot. I think it might be a little bit. I know it's a opening one of the NFL's opening games, but it's might be a little bit disappointing in terms of fantasy. I would think.
Well, it's at that. Is that the same Brazil stadium that had the Packers Eagles game last year?
Oh yeah, I know that was.
So we'll have somebody slip, and Xavier Worthy's gone for an 8-yard touchdown. You got to worry about that. Like didn't Jaden Reed go off for 150 yards or something like that? Guys are slipping and sliding. Whoever has the correct cleats on wins this game.
Yeah, if he didn't have that game, I don't think his agent would even had a claim for that number one receiver comment, because that was a monster game. But I just don't see it. I just see the same kind of sluggish. I know Andy Reid's great week 1, but I just see the same kind of sluggish offense with when you don't have Rice in there and you don't have and now Brown's not at full health and you don't have Royals yet, which is another kind of bonus because he's like at least offensively, as a pass catcher, maybe not a blocker, but as a pass catcher weapon, a step up from Juju last year. So it's not looking great. And Kelsey might take another step back. So who knows? There's just too many questions for me with Mahomes week 1. Don't like him at all. Before we move on, let's do a segment presented by Yahoo Fantasy called Would You Rather? Sean Koerner, would you rather stash a running back who is 1 injury away but has no real value in the interim, such as Will Shipley, cornerback, or a running back who has somewhat of a weekly floor but may never escape a true committee role, i.e. a Jerome Ford, or dare I say Isaiah Pacheco?
Yeah, so I think it depends on the state of your team. Sometimes you do need a high floor play like Ford. But Raybon, I'm not trying to barely make the playoffs and get ousted early. I'm going for first place. So give me the most upside possible. I rather stash a guy like Shipley who has, RB2 upside if Barkley misses time. Will Barkley miss time this year? Who knows? It's not a guarantee. But most running backs do miss 2 to 3 games a season, sometimes even more. So I like to stash the running backs with the most upside. And if I do need, a higher floor option, that's why I like to draft a guy like a Jordan Mason, who's going to open up as an RB3 flex. He's part of a committee, but he actually has RB2, maybe even RB1 upside if Aaron Jones misses time. So that's kind of what my running back piece is always about, is I'm usually going for the back with the most upside. So give me Shipley out of the 2.
Love it. And that totally agree. And that is just great advice, because you're not trying to just barely make the playoffs. You're trying to just run away with it. So that is our Would You Rather segment presented by Yahoo Fantasy. And as a reminder, this episode of the Fantasy Flex podcast is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. NFL Week 1 is here. Fantasy football is taking over. Everybody's researching, drafting, putting together their championship squad. So if you have not joined a fantasy league yet, now is the time, and it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. That's where Sean Koerner and I are playing for 2025, and you should be too. So whether you're a first timer or a vet making your 1 millionth league, it is time to tap in. The NFL season starts on September 4th, so now is the time to start playing on Yahoo Fantasy, which offers a bunch of fun ways to compete. If you want more ways to play, you can try the new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League mode, where the lowest scoring team each week gets chopped. If you want to play instantly with friends, you can try Yahoo's new Draft with Friends mode. If you prefer the classics, you can get your crew together and go head-to-head in a private league. Or if you're looking for a new crew to join, try a Yahoo Public League, the easiest way to play and meet some new peeps. It's all possible with Yahoo Fantasy. So get started right now. You can go play over at yahoofantasy.com/flex. Again, that's yahoofantasy.com/flex. Top 5 running back Sean Koerner, week number 1, 2025. Who you got?
Pretty straightforward. Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, who I think is playing, right? And Derrick Henry.
I got me some Barkley, Bijan, McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, and JT, Jonathan Taylor.
Whoa, there we go. Now we're
all the snaps.
Yeah,
snaps.
He's my RB7. Is he going to be watching Daniel Jones run it in himself though? That would be a problem.
I mean, it's better than Anthony Richardson. It's an upgrade for Taylor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
from
true.
last year. And Taylor was what? I mean, Taylor was a monster last year. So Henry, Henry's a little riskier in a spot like this because usually Baltimore's almost guaranteed to kind of have a positive game script, where this is the rare, it could go either way kind of game for him. So that's why he's out of my top 5. Chase Brown is kind of pushing it, but wait to see how the split with the passing down splits with Brooks pan out. So I feel good about Gibbs though. I'm not gonna knock him out yet.
Nah, you can't. There's like 4 or 5 guys you could easily have in the top 5. I think it cuts off. Like Genty is my RB9. I don't think you could really make a case for him, at least right away, to be in the top 5. But you can't go wrong with any of these guys. And like Henry, my model is permanently in love with Henry. I gotta tamp it down. So at Buffalo, week 1, if there were ever a time to have Henry outside of my top 5, it'd be this week. But I just can't quit him. So he's in my top 5.
Oh yeah, he should be fresh. I mean, he'll be fine. He's not fading or anything. But this is it's kind of a crowded top 5. But because we got McCaffrey healthy, supposedly we're not there yet. We haven't gotten to week 1 yet.
Yeah.
But
can Jordan Mason give us a heads up? Oh wait, he's not even there anymore.
B-Rob. Yeah, right. Oh yeah.
Remember that he spilled the beans? He's like, I knew Friday night or whatever. And like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trust it until, and I mean, even McCaffrey, there's a little bit of a question mark with him. Just we don't know exactly what the split will be, but I assume like Shanahan doesn't know how to lay off sometimes these guys. So I feel good about McCaffrey, and I think Achane has a case, but I am kind of waiting to see with the does Ollie Gordon kind of get short yardage goal line work and whatnot. So I'd rather go with Taylor just because he's like a home favorite, you know what I mean? And Achane, but Achane, he's such a good pass catcher that being a road dog doesn't really hurt him. All right, who you high on at running back?
So I'm high on 2 guys that I just think their value is going to be at the highest essentially to begin the season. And first one's Tyrone Tracy. He's my RB20 to open the week. They're at Washington, so not great spot for running back, but he's set to be the lead back. Cam Scadaboo missed a ton of camp with the hamstring injury, so he's probably going to be eased in. You've mentioned that Devin Singletary is probably the number 2 back to open the season, so I think that helps Tracy, and everybody's saying that he's the clear lead back to open the season. So this is a kind of an interesting matchup because the Commanders struggled against the run last year. They were 26th in DVOA. They allowed the 3rd most yards before contact, which is something I like to look at. So, Tracy should have room to run. And this is a game they'll probably want to lean on Tracy early on, try to keep it close. And then, when it gets out of hand, he'll be the back, likely catching passes anyway. So I think it's a solid game script for him anyway. And like I said, his value is probably going to peak at the beginning of the season. He might just come out looking as good as he did last year and be the true workhorse the entire season. Who knows? But at least out of the gate, I think that's going to be the case. So I think people are kind of sleeping on him. His ECR is RB26. I consider him more of a true low end RB2 here. So I'm high on Tracy against the Commanders this week.
Yeah. And remember, this is Giants Commanders. So whatever expectation you have for the Giants, just bump it up by 1.5x, because it's something about the Commanders that just tend to bring out the best in the Giants. They always give them problems. And Sandra still tends, for some reason, this is the one matchup where Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't catch like 8 balls for 47 yards. He tends to struggle against the Commanders, so that also could open up more work for Tracy. But yeah, I just thought, I mean, the Giants aren't really a in the media spotlight, but if you just watch their preseason games and just watch them play, like Tracy clearly looks like a cut ahead of Scatterboo, Singletary, all those guys. And I just don't like the fact that like Scatterboo, already a guy that kind of is overachieved, I would say, in college, and now like starting camp hurt. Like that's not what I want from a guy that I think needs to be at tip top shape, because it's a big step up, I think, in competition, and he can eventually kind of command a role. But yeah, I think Tracy, if anything, is kind of creating separation at this point. So yeah, I like the Tracy call as well. Who else you like?
Yeah, it's J.K. Dobbins opens up as my RB30. But he's a guy where, he's probably going to open the season as sort of the co-lead back with AJ Harvey, and then we'll kind of see what Sean Payton does from there.
RJ?
Wait, what did I say?
You're thinking of AJ Feely. Were you thinking of AJ Feely?
Oh, did I
said AJ Harvey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was that an AJ Feely Freudian slip?
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. Definitely juggling way too much right now. But yeah, obviously RJ Harvey. I know who RJ Harvey is. But this, JK and RJ. That's, this is the time when JK is going to be offering the most value, unless, RJ gets hurt, because JK is always solid when he's healthy, and he's never going to be more healthy than he is right now heading into week 1. And I think Harvey's role should grow as the year goes on if he's as good as I think he'll be. But this likely is going to be sort of a thunder and lightning combo, with Dobbins likely, being the early down type of back. So in this spot, at home against the Titans, I think they're up to 9.5 point favorites right now. I think this is another game we could see some weather. Yeah, there could be some rain. So this would be kind of the ideal game script for Dobbins as well. So if you have Dobbins, this is probably the time you'll want to be starting him anyway. So I'm high on him entering week 1. And like I said, he's clearly an RB3 flex play at RB30, but this is kind of the time of the season I think he's going to be offering the most value.
Yeah, he still scares me a little, I'm not gonna lie. Only because they didn't really he didn't get a carry in the preseason, right? Like we just haven't seen him run since last year. It always worries me when he's like, but I mean,
he was supposed to start. He was supposed to start that game where they played all the starters, but he couldn't find his helmet. This is all.
So he has amnesia. That's just great.
Yeah.
Not
good, but he has a running back. Just
I would say I mean. Oof, they just make me nervous, man. So you're where are you on Harvey? I'm just curious. Is he?
Yeah, I like Harvey. He's like around RB25 for me. Again, okay. I think it's going to be pretty even, but people are drafting Harvey 10, 15 slots higher than J.K. Dobbins in terms of running backs. So it's just one of those things where I think people will be kind of annoyed how close it is early on, and then Harvey is clearly the more talented back. He's a rookie, but I think he'll pay off later in the season. Whereas early on, that's probably when they'll lean on Dobbins the most. But still, as kind of a starter with Harvey here.
I'm gonna go to the opposite end, kind of a similar situation, but I'm gonna go aggressive. Week 1, Travion, baby, Travion Henderson. He's already ECR RB21. I think he should be a top 20 back. I think the Patriots are kind of playing it coy. I think he comes out and just runs away literally and figuratively with the feature back role. I think remember that season when James White was like the RB3? Actually, there was like a couple of 3 year stretch. I think you got McDaniels back in New England, Raybon. They were around when that was going down. So I think you can see that's his kind of upside. Love the matchup against the Raiders because Landon Roberts and Jermaine Pratt at linebacker. Okay, Landon Roberts and Jermaine Pratt. Yes, they have. That does improve your run defense in a sense. But what do we know about Henderson? He's great catching passes out of the backfield. Roberts is one of the worst coverage linebackers, and so is Pratt. Roberts was a 49.6 PFF coverage grade last year, 62nd out of 78. And then Pratt was 53.4, 56th out of 78. So I think Henderson's going to be the guy they look to exploit perimeter. But I also don't think that Vegas interior line is that great either. I mean, Fotu, Laulu, Butler, like you can run on that. And, Crosby coming off the injury, he's really their best run defender, and we'll see what we get out of him. But yeah, I think Henderson's going to be the guy from a matchup standpoint over Stevenson, even though the Patriots are a home favorite. It could be a good spot for Stevenson too, but I gotta go with the fresh rookie here. To hit the ground running. So give me Henderson all day. He's the guy that really stands out. There's a bunch of other guys that I think could get more work than maybe some people think, but the matchups aren't. I don't love the matchups. Like guys like Mason and Charbonnet and Braylon Allen. So Henderson is the guy that really stands out. Is the guy that could just kind of win you the week in week one. So he's who I'm rolling with.
Yeah, and Stevenson's questionable. He popped up on the injury report, undisclosed. No clue what's going on there. Do you have any clue?
He's mad.
Imagine.
Yeah, he's getting Wally pipped, and because like Raybon ain't fucking around. If he says he's gonna bench Stevenson, he'll actually bench him. Because I've heard in camp that Stevenson's been outplayed by Antonio Gibson as well. So what? Stevenson's surprised and active week one. Imagine.
Oh yeah, healthy scratch.
That would be a dream. Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That's gonna happen. But I mean, undisclosed. You got him on. You got him on.
Yeah.
Something to watch. If anything, it just raises the floor ceiling of Henderson. But who you rolling at running back for week one, Sean Koerner?
I'm going to kick it off with my guy, David Montgomery. Low on him, maybe for the first time since he was on the Bears. But he's opening up as my RB28. And I said his floor will be lower this season, and that's especially the case in this matchup. Similar to Jared Goff, it's a tougher matchup for Monty specifically because their projected points is a lot lower than normal. They're more middle of the pack in terms of implied team total. The Packers are solid against the run. They were 7th in DVOA last year, and this could be a rare trailing game script for the Lions, which always hurts Montgomery. So all of that sort of leads to Monty being more of an RB3 flex for me this week. This is definitely a week they'll probably lean on Gibbs a bit more. So yeah, and if you have Monty, I think there's still going to be weeks where he's going to be a potential, RB2 option, even with Gibbs healthy. And then, he has RB1 upside if Gibbs misses time. So I'm not really down on Monty overall, but certainly for week one, I think you got to consider other options if you have somebody ranked higher than him. And yeah, like I said, I have him RB28 in week one.
Yeah, I always kind of go back to that year where it was Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis. One year they were splitting work, and then the next year, just Lewis was nowhere to be found. And I have actually seen a beat writer or two now kind of say kind of express that same oh man, it looks more like it's going to be like a 70-30 this year. And Gibbs is always getting that first carry with the starters where it used to be Monty. So yeah, I think he could have a low floor all year. It might be a start of a trend, but we'll see how it goes. The Lions kind of got to kind of see how with the new coordinator and everything kind of shakes out. But yeah, I definitely think it's smart to kind of proceed with caution with him in week one. Who else you want on in week one, Sean Koerner?
Yeah, it's a rookie. It's Caleb Johnson of the Steelers. He's my RB39 against the Jets. And, he's probably going to back up Jaylen Warren. It looks like Jaylen Warren's going to draw the start. Warren just signed a 2-year extension. So congrats to him. But I still think, Caleb's going to mix in, especially on early downs, probably enough, to potentially offer some RB3 flex value. But just heading into week one, there's so much uncertainty here that I'd rather play it safe. You should have better options than him to start the season. Plus, Kenny Gainwell should see enough playing time to make this more of a 3-back committee. I think he was actually listed as the number 2. Wouldn't look into that too much, but it's something I've already been hinting at anyway. And this is why I was saying I'm not drafting Caleb Johnson, around RB25. I just think it's going to take some time for him to kind of work his way in. He's not going to have the full Najee role right away, it looks like. So you got to be patient with him. He's still a decent bench stash, and I think his value should be much, much higher in the second half of the season. But like I said, it's hard to trust him week one with so much uncertainty. He's my RB38 to open up the season.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even just the depth chart though. That was kind of how they played it in the preseason, where Warren would either rest and then Gainwell would kind of be the first back in, and those two would both be playing ahead of Johnson, and he was playing deeper into the game. So we'll see how that goes. But I think you pointed out that Arthur Smith has done this before with Bijan, where it was a lot more of a split with Tyler Algier his rookie year than we expected. So yeah, there could be some shenanigans at least to start the season. Totally agree. I kind of have some similar situations where I'm just not as confident in the workload split, and I think these guys are kind of ranked as if we are a lot more certain. First guy is Ken Walker, RB15. I think that's too high, given just what we've heard the coaching staff say. Now I know that I do think Seattle is going to be run heavy this year. I think you're going to see a transformation with Kubiak and whatnot, but we've heard them talk up Charbonnet and say he's got all the traits and he's just essentially hits the holes better and things like that. And that's always been an issue with Walker. He's been a little bit feast or famine and gotten himself into trouble. And he's missed some time in camp. And remember, this is a new offense, new install and whatnot. So it could be a little bit of a slow start. And then we also, so not only do we not know the kind of Walker Charbonnet split, but it seemed like every Seahawk running back had a great camp. So who knows? Maybe you get like a couple of George Holani carries or something like that. I think there's just a lot of uncertainty. And on top of that, last year San Francisco was not a good run defense. A lot of injuries. In the two games they faced Walker, they held him to 14 for 32 rushing and 14 for 54. Now, he did bail himself out with a touchdown in both of those games, but those are a lot harder to kind of rely on, especially now that Charbonnet may very well get carries down in the goal, near the goal line. So overall, just 28 for 86 against the Niners, 3 yards per carry. And San Francisco held Seattle last year to 109 yards rushing across the two games, 54.5 average. In all other games, they allowed double that and over 4.4 yards per carry. So it's even with a bad defense last year, San Francisco kind of had Seattle's number in terms of these backs. We'll see if that changes with the scheme. But I also think there's some uncertainty is San Francisco's defense could be a lot better than people think. They have a lot of talent, a lot of young talent on that defensive line. They still have Bosa, they still have Warner. I think the secondary has some question marks, but that front seven could still be very good. So just too many question marks week one for Walker to be a top 15 confident start. Another one kind of in the same boat, Amari and Hampton. We expect him to get better as the year progresses, but they listed him as the co-starter with Najee. Najee all of a sudden back from the dead, looking to start to be a go in week one. We'll see how that goes. But if Najee's a go, I think we have to take Amari out of the top 20, at least for this week. Kansas City allowed the third fewest rushing yards per game to running backs last year, just 3.8 yards per carry to running backs. And remember, this is Greg Roman. Week one last year, it was like an even split between Gus and J.K. Dobbins. So Dobbins kind of ran away with the role as the year progressed, but we can't just assume Amari Hampton's going to get the full Dobbins role right from the start, because everything they've been kind of saying has been the opposite. And now it's all of a sudden, it seems like Najee's ready to go. So I don't like where this is going. And of course, biggest injury of the offseason, in my opinion, with losing the Chargers line, losing Slater. So there's some line issues, tough matchup, uncertain workload, not a top 20 back, in my opinion. And then Javonte Williams, RB33. That's still too high for me. 3.7 yards per carry the last 2 years. Eagles, I know there was a exodus on that defense, but still second fewest fantasy points allowed to backs last year, second fewest rushing touchdowns allowed to backs last year, and seventh fewest receiving yards allowed to backs last year, and we'll see how. I know Nakobe Dean's not there, but they seem to be churning these guys out, a linebacker to cover these backs in that scheme. So just not a situation I want any parts of in week one, especially with there's Blue behind him that could kind of jump him as soon as week one. Sanders is still a possibility. Lipke could actually take passing down work too, and he's a fullback. So this is not a situation I want any parts of. So Javonte, I'm not starting him this week, even as a flex. All right, I got a fun running back prop for you.
All right,
I'll give you a choice.
Okay.
Higher percentage of his team's week one rushing yardage. Breece Hall. So of the running backs. So
of the running backs.
Breece Hall. So Breece Hall plus Braylon Allen plus whoever, if there's a third, his rushing yardage divided into all the running backs on the Jets.
Okay.
Or let's go to the opposite side. Or Jaylen Warren. His percentage for the Steelers. Who has a firmer grip on their team's backfield in week one?
Yeah, I got to go with Breece Hall here.
Okay.
Yeah, go with Breece Hall. That is a phenomenal prop to kick off the season at running back, though. That's a fun one. But yeah, got to go with Breece Hall. Do you have this, tied?
Okay, this is a two-parter.
Okay.
It's a two-parter. So I'll get. So you get Breece Hall. So I'll give you. So you got Breece Hall for that one. So Hall, greater percentage. Than Warren. And then, so the loser, I was going to take whoever the loser was for the first one. So now I'll go Warren, and same question. Warren versus Travis Etienne.
I'm going to go with Warren in that.
Okay.
Matchup.
So you know what? Let's do it. Let's do a three-parter.
Okay.
I'll take you get that. So now we'll go with the loser. That would be Etienne. So same question, Etienne versus Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh boy, your favorite running back of all time. Man, you're really testing my.
It's a fun one though, because there's so many of these. There's so many of these.
That's what week one's all about. Some of these, I'm just gonna sit back and see what happens. Okay, yeah, I'll go with Pacheco on that.
Okay, so you got Hall over Warren, Warren over Etienne, and Pacheco over Etienne. So you're worried about, I'm guessing, Bigsby and or Tootin in
but
the Jags.
Are they all going to be active? Are we going to see a surprise?
We could. I think the most likely surprise scratch would be Bigsby, in my opinion. I still maintain that, but I think we could see 4 guys active. I think all may have a role, but I think Tootin's going to have a bigger role than people expect. I think Bigsby will have a smaller role than people expect, and Etienne could kind of go either way. But yeah, I think I would also take Hall over Warren, and Warren versus Etienne is kind of it's a toss up because I am worried about Caleb, because I feel like the extension is kind of working in Warren's favor, but the Gainwell and Caleb, I guess Warren in rushing yardage, he's probably a better bet than touchdown. So, but yeah, I would probably lean Warren slightly over Etienne, but that's because I'm high on Tootin and I'm lower on Bigsby. So, because remember, Bucky had I think it was 9-10 touches week one last year, right off the bat. And Tootin did get rested. He did get rested in that last game. And he did run inside the tackles, I thought, better than expected. So I still think Bigsby is risky. So I would, But of course I'm fading Pacheco though. So Etienne.
Well, obviously that goes without, I think everybody knows that goes without saying, but yeah, a lot of murky situations, and we're just going off, speculation, beat reports. That's why I can't wait until week one's in the books and we have data to actually go off. That's when we take things over and can make sense of this madness. But yeah, I mean, it's a crapshoot. All those backfields you brought up I'm wringing my hands trying to project, but can't wait to see how it all shakes out week one. And then obviously people are going to overreact to some of these as well. And that's one of my favorite things is the overreactions from week one.
Yeah, I mean, it's already kind of started. I feel like the Jets are just going to run a lot. So, I mean, the whole Allen thing, like I think it benefits Allen more than it necessarily kills Hall's value. I mean, he was always a low yard per carry guy. Like, we've talked about this before. Like he was making his career on like a couple of breakaway runs, and like everything else was. There are a lot of bad games. The line should be better though, and they're going to run a lot more, so it might just kind of even out. But I do think the Jags backfield could surprise people. Like I think that start for Bigsby is like kind of throwing a wrench. Everyone's kind of like, oh well, it's just going to be the same as it was last year. It's like I don't know about that. Right. Pacheco, I mean, it's probably safer now than he'll be later in the year because he gets the way his running style is. He just gets he's already had like 6 injuries. Like serious, like he's had upper body injuries, he's had broken bones, like upper, lower, ribs, leg, fibula, shoulder, like just like you name it. So now he should be fresh. So I think I actually would go Pacheco over Etienne. I would do the same thing you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pacheco runs. Yeah. He has zero chill. He's just always just pedal to the metal. So yeah, that's probably why he gets injured so much. He has zero chill. He's just running 110% every single snap.
All right, that'll do it for part 1 of our player projections episode of Fantasy Flex for week 1, presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Make sure to subscribe to the Fantasy Flex podcast so you do not miss an episode all season long. We'll be back with our DFS episode right here tomorrow, along with some of our favorite touchdown scorers, and that will be over on the Action Network podcast, so be sure to subscribe to the Action Network podcast as well. Stucky and I will have the 6-pack over there as usual. If you're into NFL betting, you can find Sean on X at @_oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Thank you again to our sponsor, Yahoo Fantasy, the best place to play fantasy football. Until next time, let's get this money.